For today's review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends Ultimate Captain America. This is the figure that started my Avenger shelf because when this figure came out, it was just like a perfectly timed moment where there were other things releasing in Marvel Legends, like the 60th anniversary Marvel Legends wave of figures that had the Black Widow, that had the Thor 2-pack with the Destroyer. And in the same wave that this Captain America was a part of, which is the Puff Adder build figure wave, there was the Extremist Suit Iron Man. So there were just a few figures that were just all around coming out together in this period of time, and some figures that were a little bit older that I was able to pick up and just build this Avengers shelf. And I'm very happy that I was able to complete that. And if you want to see a photo of what that looks like, I made a post on it like a long time ago. It's like in the community post area on my channel. You got to scroll back like really far back, but it's down there. So if you are curious and you're willing to, scroll back, you'll see the photo. So, all right, let's talk about accessories. The first accessory that we're going to talk about is the shield. So yeah, nicely printed on. They didn't do a bad job with this. The one thing that they did do a bad job on is using this thing right here. Yeah, if you collect Marvel Legends, you would know this thing is freaking horrible. So this thing right here, which most people call the C-clip, this plastic is so brittle that if you're not careful and you put this on the wrist area on this figure, it will stress that plastic out so much that it can snap really easily. And I've seen a video of this snapping in real time. It was in MCU Collector's review on, I believe it was the Hydra character. I don't know the name to that freaking figure, but he reuses the Civil Warrior body buck, and he has a shield that's exactly like this. And it has the same combination. So this scares me. And it's not how you sculpt a shield, okay? Like, if they sculpted this with straps, like the way that Mattel does with their Masterverse shield accessory, not figures, Masterverse accessories for, their Masterverse figures, of course. That's what I'm trying to say. It would be way better if they did it that way or something else. This is not the way, okay? So there's my little ramble on the shield. He also includes this alternate head sculpt, which I really like because it's like this angry expression. So if you're doing some sort of photo where he's in some sort of fight, there's that. He also includes interchangeable hands. So the first one right here is the shield throwing hand, which is really nice. And he also has this other hand, which I think is probably the stupidest one. Do you see something wrong with this? You see the pinky? How it's not glued in with the rest of the fingers? So originally, I think this was supposed to be a trigger finger hand, because these fingers would have been glued with the pinky. This would have been spaced out a little bit to mimic a trigger finger hand, like he's meant to hold a gun. And I've never read the Ultimates comic for Captain America, from where this character originates from in the Ultimates universe. But from what I've heard, he does use a gun. This would not be the hand to hold a gun, right? Like, look at this. And also, he doesn't even have a gun. So, there's that too. So, even if you were to give him a gun accessory, he's not going to be holding anything because, unless you do a modification to this, which you probably could. So, there's that. And the last thing that he includes, it is not an accessory for him, but he also came with the build piece for Puff Adder. This is the head sculpt, so there's that. This is a build figure that I've never completed. I don't know if I ever will, because I'm very selective when I buy Marvel Legends, as you will probably tell as more reviews come out on this channel. So yeah. All right. Let's talk about the aesthetics of the figure. And why did I zoom out? Let's zoom back in. There are some texture work on this figure that I really love. And I like the fact that they did not just, print everything on. And it's just sculpted on instead. Usually with comic book figures, they tend to print most of the details on, in some cases. But with this one, they did some actual sculpt work. So let's start with up here. So all of these texturing is actually sculpted on, which is really nice. You can see that there are these grid line patterns in some areas of the costume to mimic like fabric, which I really love. He also has his star logo here that is also sculpted on. In some cases, this would have been printed on. And for his head sculpt up here, this A logo would also have been printed on. But this is actually sculpted. It's actually three-dimensional. And I really love all these like details that they did with this figure. Even the stuff on the side here is sculpted on. You know, the star logos on both of the shoulders. And if you look closely down here, there's more texturing. I like that. And even on the side right here, the texture pattern continues. So, all in all, this figure really did a good job with the sculpt work and the texturing stuff. And I love the fact that it's so heavily present throughout the figure. Even the arms over here, like with some areas on his gloves are sculpted and there's like details. The belt here is filled with details. Of course, it's all painted in the same color, and if you're a customizer, you could probably go back in and touch up some of the details on this stuff so it doesn't look, you know, the same. Because it is very plain looking if you leave it this way. But because I'm not a customizer, I don't really know how to change this at the moment. But if I do learn, I will definitely paint some of this in and make it look different. Like especially this piece right here. This is supposed to be the thing that holds water. It should not be the same brown color as this pouch, in my opinion. So, and of course that sculpt work goes down to his pants, which is very simplistic, but you know, you can see that even the boots are very nicely sculpted. And yeah, for a comic book figure, they did a really good job on this one. And for his face, yeah, same thing. I really like the way that this face sculpt came out. So, all in all, aesthetic-wise, it's not too bad, you know? Compared to, like, some of the other figures. Let's just bring in, Falcon. Or, well, in this case, I keep calling him Falcon. It's the Captain America Sam Wilson figure. So, you can see that they also have texturing in some areas, right? So, sometimes they do treat certain figures better. And then sometimes they just keep it very simple. I know this is supposed to be a retro style figure, but I mean, come on. You can at least add some texturing to the cloth material to make it look like real clothing, right? I mean, you did it here with the Captain America figure, so yeah, you get what I mean. So yeah, sometimes they'll do this, sometimes they won't. It's really random how some figures are treated. So that is basically the aesthetics on this figure. There is really nothing else to talk about. Most of the details are pretty nicely done. And yeah, now let's talk about the articulation, because the articulation for this figure is interesting. And we'll start with the head. So for the head sculpt, standard head sculpt, it does look up, not completely. It does look down. Okay. The way that I have it right now is not the correct way, but yeah, you can kind of look down if you move his legs. So you can do that as well. Turning his head side to side, you know, pretty good. Can it tilt? No, it doesn't have the tilt function. His arms can go out. His arms can go all the way back. He does have double jointed articulation right here with the arms, so not too bad. He does have the I believe this is what you call the bicep, right? So there's a swivel up here. There's swivel in the hands. The hands also have a hinge with the joint, so it does move, but my copy still really tight on this. So, but you know how that works if you collect Marvel Legends. As for his torso, this is where things get very interesting. So this particular figure utilizes an articulation that I think is very uncommon with Marvel Legends. Usually when a figure has upper torso movement here, this bottom part will not move. Like, it won't move at all. It's like one solid piece. But if you look at it, there's rotation down here. And the reason why this rotation is possible is because this belt piece over here hides the ugly cut. So not only does he have upper torso movement, he has movement down here. If you look back at this Sam Wilson Captain America figure, which uses like an older body buck, I think, because I'm not too sure like which body bucks are old, but I'm pretty sure this one is. You got a hinge, but no upper torso cut for it to rotate. And then you have this bottom waist swivel. And in most cases, when figures have the upper torso cut, they don't ever carve out a swivel for the bottom. So this She-Hulk, for example, if they did not just print this belt piece on, which looks like a belt, if they made this, you know, like a separate piece that was like sculpted on, they could have easily applied another waist rotation down here. So what this Captain America has is a very rare thing to see. This is very similar to what I'm used to with DC Multiverse figures, and I like this more than like a hinge joint, which can be very ugly sometimes. So his legs do kick out, not too bad. He does have double jointed articulation here. He does have feet articulation. They do move up and down. There is swivel with the feet. There is no toe articulation because it is Marvel Legends. They usually don't give them toe articulations ever. Only some figures have had it, like Spider-Man. And, of course, right here, you have this rotation up here with this part, which is really nice. He does have die-cut swivel here, and he can spread his legs out. So, there it is. That is all the articulation on this Captain America figure. And now I want to do some comparisons, and that will be the end of this review. So the first figure that we'll put him next to is, of course, the Sam Wilson Captain America figure. And as you can see, Steve Rogers is quite taller in scale in this case. I don't know how tall these characters are in the comics, so if this is like accurate in scale, then this is not bad. But if you have both these figures, definitely they can go good together. And this is really nice for me because I want to put these two together. And then, of course, here we have him with She-Hulk. And She-Hulk is taller than him. She-Hulk, you know, in her Hulk form, she is taller than some characters. So this is accurate in scale. And I don't have the other Avengers figures like out right now. I only have one of them out. So this is the only one I can put him next to. And of course, that is the Hulk. So as you can see, there's the Toy Biz 20th anniversary Hulk figure. And I think this Captain America figure goes pretty good with this Hulk too. So it can work if you put them together. So depending on what type of shelf you're building, I mean, they're both comic designs, so this is definitely going to work. And I like this. And yeah. And the last figure that we will have them compared to, of course, is the Marvel Select version of Captain America. So this is not made by Marvel Legends. It is made by Marvel Select. That is a different company. And this is the recent Captain America figure that released that I picked up from Marvel Select. I don't really collect Marvel Select. This is like my third Marvel Select figure that I own. And the reason why I picked up this figure is because they did a really good job with this Captain America figure, in my opinion. He comes with a lot of accessories, and he comes with enough where if you just needed a Captain America figure on a budget for $30, he comes with everything that you need for this character. So, yeah, they did a good job here. But, of course, I think in terms of the Marvel Legend version, they also did a pretty good job with this one too. So, if you're like a Captain America fan and you just collect Captain America figures, it's a no-brainer that you're going to have both of these. But if you had to pick and choose like which one to go with, it really depends on what your preferences are. Now, I would most likely recommend the Marvel Select one because it comes with more accessories. There are more swappable parts, such as head sculpts, shields. There's 2 different shields with the Marvel Select version. But if you are someone who's into scale, you don't like the Marvel Select scale, then of course this Captain America figure is the one to go with, this Ultimates version from Marvel Legends. So, yeah, in the end of the day, whatever you prefer, go with that. But in this case, I like both of these figures, and that is why I have both of them. And with that said, if you found today's review on this Ultimates Captain America from Marvel Legends informative, do give this video a like. And if you want to see more action figure content on the channel, do give this channel a subscribe. You don't have to. In the end of the day, I make these videos for fun. And with that said, take care, and I will see you in the next video.